Hey, hey, what's going on here? Hey, what's going on?
Would you like to play a game? I have Life and Monopoly.
Are you kidding? You kidnapped me to play board games?
Hey, don't come at me with that attitude. You left me out of your team up for your Defenders review, and I will not be ignored.
The Defenders, that was like months ago. I already apologized, and I gave you your own show.
You mean my macabre movie mania that by the time this video is released will be a critical and commercial success? And you can check it out by clicking this link that just came up on the video.
Yes, that very awkward plug for your show was accurate.
Well, not good enough. I demand retribution. I demand torture. I want you to review the new Saw movie, Jigsaw.
Oh. Okay.
What?
Well, I was already planning to review it. I'm a pretty big Saw fan myself, so yeah.
Oh. Huh.
Well, I guess we can do something else if you want, I suppose.
I didn't really have anything else planned. Well, let me think about this and get back to you.
Hey everybody, Hold on. We're not gonna need those. Hey everybody, Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard here. So I get to do something I never thought I'd get to do, review a brand new Saw movie. Hell yeah, Jigsaw is out. Let's talk about it. So of course this is a franchise movie, so I gotta do my hierarchy of where the franchise all sits. So here is my list of the Saw movies and where I rank them. If you want a more in-depth look at this list, my friend from before, last Halloween, did a whole video on it that you can click here and check that out if you want more in-depth. But yeah, here's how I rank the current Saw movies. But yes, I am a huge Saw fan. I love the Saw movies. It's just some amazing stuff going on. Especially for hardcore fans, it is so great. So a lot of people, write this series off as just, torture porn and pointless blood and gore, but actually, hardcore fans know it's all about the story and the continuity. This is a great series for continuity nerds. They mention things from previous movies. Things will happen in previous movies that didn't make sense but are brought up later, and then they all tie in together. It's a lot of cool stuff, and they really kind of, pay you back for paying extra attention to their movie. And I think that's what a lot of people really gravitated towards, and it was fantastic. And I'm one of those people. I love it. So for Saw movies, I do rank them on 4 very specific categories. You got story and continuity. How well does the story work? How does it fit in the continuity? And what do they do with the continuity? The twist, does it leave you with the holy shit, what just happened feeling? Traps, are they intricate and interesting? And of course, let's not kid ourselves, the gore. I am a big gore fan, so yeah, the gore. So how does Jigsaw work with these categories? Where does it fit in the continuity? And how does it hold up as a Saw movie? Well, let's talk about it. So Jigsaw is brought to us by the Sparring Brothers, who did Daybreakers, as well as next year's very anticipated horror movie Winchester, based on the Winchester Mansion. So this is kind of their tryout for that. So the general plot is this takes place 10 years after John Kramer, Jigsaw, has died. So basically 10 years after the end of Saw 3. And a new game has started, and it's all about finding the new killer and, finding where this game is taking place. So basically a basic Saw plot. Without getting into too many spoilers, that's your basic plot. So this movie brings us a whole new cast of characters, so let's talk about them. Now, like any good Saw movie does, there's a split between the main game that's going on and the actual story dealing with continuity, and then they always bring them all together. The people in the game, without going into spoilers, are really pretty much cannon fodder, so let's talk about the main story arc. And that's brought to us by two groups of people, a pair of morgue technicians and a pair of detectives, because we're always dealing with detectives in Saw movies. So the morgue technicians are Eleanor and Logan, played by Hannah Emily Anderson and Matt Passmore, respectively. And they're mostly just TV work when I look them up. I really haven't seen them in anything else. But they are really awesome. Especially Eleanor has this dark kind of mystery around her, and you're not sure what's going on with her. And you kind of want to see how that's going to play out. And Logan is like this, kind-hearted straight man with a family. And he's an army vet and things like that. So you're kind of curious how that works out with him being a morgue technician and how they play off each other. And like there's this history behind them that they really only allude to. So you kind of want to see where that goes. So both of them I very much enjoyed. And our detectives are Detective Halloran and Detective Hunt, played by Callum Keith Rennie and Clay Bennett. And once again, mostly just TV work, although both of them have appeared in the Arrowverse, and that's kind of cool. But they're kind of new partners. Detective Hunt is like a newer detective, although been a cop for a while. He's just now become a detective. And Detective Halloran's been around the block for a while. Sort of your training day sort of scenario, but not really. But there seems to be a big history between all four of these characters and some different interactions, and they really only allude to it, kind of building up some mystery that hopefully maybe they can explore in future movies. And I like that, and I like all these characters. They are very likable and entertaining, and all have a little bit of mystery going for them. So I very much enjoyed the new cast that was given to us. So here's usually where I talk about what I liked about the movie specifically. But being that this is a Saw movie and I judge Saw movies on 4 distinct criteria, I want to do a report card. So here is Jigsaw's report card. So story and continuity, I am giving this a B. This is not a reboot. This is a relaunch. It still takes place in the same continuity. It's just trying to breathe life back into this franchise. So they pay homage to previous Saw movies, as well as builds on that continuity and add some new aspects to it. Now, some of that makes weird waves, and that's what drops the grade slightly, is that there's some parts that are going to be hard to place within the Saw continuity. Someone with more time than me is going to have to do that so I can find out where that is, or I'm going to have to, do my own detective work and get that fit. But overall, they played some really good homage to it, as well as the overall arcing storyline of how this works was very good. So definite B on that. And now the twist. Like I said, a Saw movie has to leave you with that feeling of, what the fuck just happened? And all of you, everyone's seen the first Saw, I generally assume, and they all just, you know that feeling at the end of that Saw where you're just like, what the fuck just happened? So the twist in this one, a B+, a very solid twist. I definitely left me with that what the fuck feeling. But there are some things that didn't quite line up right, slightly dropping the grade, but definite a solid twist, so B+ on the twist. And of course, every Saw movie has traps. how integral and interesting are the traps, how ironic are the traps to the person's personality, things like that. And this one, I'm giving it a bit of a C. First of all, there's a trap in the trailer, you can even see it, with lasers.
Sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads.
And yeah, I know lasers can cut things, and there's real lasers that do that, but the lasers they show are like, friggin', laser pointer lasers. Those aren't cutting shit. And they basically introduced lightsabers. And so that was too sci-fi, too stupid. I did not like that trap. And then the other trap, which you also see in the trailer, this one reminds me of, the friggin' SpongeBob movie. And that's weird. There were some interesting ones, but nothing that really stands out. They didn't add any new iconic traps. There's a funnel one that you see in the trailer, and I like how that one plays out. But I'm not big on the traps in this one. It is definitely where they lacked. But on the flip side of that, the gore. Is there CG gore? What they do with the gore? How'd that work? Definite A on this. If there was CG, I did not notice it. There were some great set pieces that they used really well, and they worked well with the traps, and some, great makeup done. And I don't want to spoil too much, but yes, gore is fantastic in this. An A on the gore for sure, giving us an average of a B for this movie. More specifically, things I liked outside of that in this movie, of course, like I said, the cast is fantastic. I love this new cast, and I want to see more with these characters and what they're going to do. They also introduced something I think would really happen. There's a community of Jigsaw fanboys, people wanting to recreate the traps just to see if they can do that. Trading bits and pieces of actual Jigsaw traps, a lot of stuff like that. And I think that would really happen, and I like adding that aspect to this movie, being that, there's a community of Jigsaw fans. I think that's really cool, and I like that they added that. Now, the flip side to that, things I didn't like outside of just the traps, the overall look. Saw has a very specific look. It's dirty, it's grungy. It's supposed to kind of be like a snuff film in a lot of ways. Like you found this film in a creepy hotel or something like that. This one's a little too clean, a little too slick, a little too bright, and it reminded me of Saw 3D, which you don't want to do. But in Saw 3D had the excuse that, they're using 3D, so you have to brighten up the image or the 3D effect doesn't really work well. This one didn't have that excuse, although some of the traps felt like they were made for 3D slightly, although not as annoying. Not a lot of in-your-face stuff. But yeah, it was just a little too slick, and like I said, that laser trap felt out of place, and just the look was a little bit off. It's reintroducing the series, so I'm okay with a slight change, but it was the overall look of it did not look like a Saw movie. And then, hopefully it's not too much of a spoiler, but there is one trap where Jigsaw specifically, mentions that this one guy screwed over his nephew, and that was really weird. And, he's never been that personal. It's like, you're a dick to my son's cousin! Why? You're a piece of shit! That kind of stuff. That was weird. I didn't care for that. But I've bit my tongue long enough. It is a Saw movie, so there's tons of spoilers, and I need to get into these spoilers. So throw up the sign and jump to this time code here if you want to skip past the spoilers. But I am going to spoil the shit out of this, so let's do it. So let me take you on the emotional roller coaster that is this movie, especially for a hardcore fan. So it starts off, you're like, okay, I'm kind of into this. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm digging it. And then they show John Kramer, Jigsaw, who died in the third movie, alive. And this grounded, supposed to be kind of reality, at least no anything, superstitious or supernatural going on. a dude faked his death for 10 years, as well as the whole point was he had cancer and he survived a car crash, and the fact that, you know, his body survived the car crash but can't survive the cancer was like his whole point, and he was slowly dying and wanted to test, you know, man's ability to survive before he died. And he died, and he's back. But then, that's the twist, is that anything that you saw Jigsaw in was a flashback, and it was the protege reenacting a trap that he did, you know, 10 years prior. And that was like, holy shit, what just happened? And that was cool. I like it. I mean, but I feel weird about it because it was a weird. It works. Like, it works, but I don't know if I like it. It's really weird. I'm very torn on it. The best way I can explain it to most people would be like if it turns out in Last Jedi that Rey's parents, or at least her father, was Chewbacca, and you'd be like, what the fuck? But then they explain it in a way that makes sense. You're like, I guess. That's kind of how I feel. I like that. I like it, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm very torn on it. On top of that, there is a lot more connections than ever been. Like, it's kind of a thing where, you know, like the 6th movie, it was an insurance provider that denied John coverage that he attacked. You know, and the first movie is Dr. Gordon was Jigsaw's doctor. So he does sometimes deal with people that are connected, but now it's like, now we have his neighbor, and, you know, the guy that screwed over his nephew, and now it's going to be, you know, his neighbor's dog, and I don't like the fact that there was connections. There was just too much. And finally, my last kind of complaint that is a spoiler is, yes, it's another protege. So, which makes it now 4 proteges, which, yeah, I'm in spoilers, so you can see who is the actual killer. And that's where it hurts the continuity as well, because now you're like, well, does he know these people that were helping him out? How's it fit here? Where does it go there? And I don't want another protege. I think it would have been way cooler to have a copycat killer that didn't have Jigsaw's limitations or rules, and he just wanted to straight up murder people in crazy traps. I think that would have been a much cooler idea rather than yet another protege of Jigsaw. But that's all the spoilers, so let's go ahead and wrap this guy up. So the whole point of this movie even existing, and I don't think I'm just being a negative Nancy, but it's the fact that Lionsgate, the studio that made this movie, is desperate for a franchise. They did the Hunger Games franchise, and now they have nothing, and so they are desperate for a franchise. They did the Power Rangers movie earlier this year, and now they're like digging in their barrels of like movies of like, what can we make a franchise out of? Saw! We haven't done Saw in a while. Saw! And so this is definitely an idea to reinvigorate this franchise so they can bring it back year after year, at least every 1 to 2 years. So did it reinvigorate the franchise? Did it make fans happy? Will it bring in new fans? Did it do all those jobs? Sort of. I do think it reinvigorates the franchise. As a fan, I actually really like this one. It's not the best Saw, but it's definitely not the worst. Falls somewhere in the middle. Not exactly sure where. But it reinvigorated it. It gave us a new cast of interesting people that I want to see what happens with. The story fits in with the continuity, and I like that a lot. So as a hardcore fan, I wholly enjoyed this, and I want to see more, and it did its job of making me, excited for this franchise again. For new people, I don't think this is going to bring any new people in. I think a new person come in and could watch this, but would be overall confused. Who's this person? What? It definitely fits in the continuity, so I don't think it's going to bring any new people in. But I think this will hopefully reinvigorate this franchise, and I am going to give it a score of a rental. Especially for fans, this fits right in with the original series. It's a solid entry in the Jigsaw franchise. And I think it's a good movie, and I hope to see more, to be honest. I think it did a good job. It could have been better, but I think it's bringing the franchise back, and that excites me, and I think it did a decent job. So I'm Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard, and I gotta look out for that undead asshole around here somewhere.